Elisha, welcome to the Dear Souls podcast. What
Thank you
ignites
so
your
much.
what ignites your energy to do what you do on a daily basis?
Well, it seems like I was born with a passion for uplifting others and a passion for
Mm-hmm.
consciousness. And that is it. I mean, it never takes a vacation. I think if I'm on a vacation, I would be looking for some kind of thing to do with consciousness or teach a workshop while I'm there, then go sit on the beach, something like that. Because this doesn't ever die inside of me. It's this flame of passion that ignites my thoughts and my writing and my teachings and my being. And that burns year after year, decade after decade.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, what inspired you to create Laughing Goddess International?
Well, I've been thinking about it for years. I taught Kundalini yoga for 18 years.
Okay.
And so I had many, many teachings, many, many experiences of awakening, inspiring experiences, challenges. And I wanted to take everything that I had learned and everything that I had become and be able to turn and offer that to people who are still coming up their own personal mountain and aiming for their dream at the top. And so I created Laughing Goddess to really as a vehicle for my workshops and courses and books. I've got 2 books, but my workshops and courses change all the time as I grow and embody more awakened consciousness within myself. Then I create a different workshop that offers those tools that I used so that other people can awaken quicker and get to their goals and their dreams quicker. And that's
Thank
what
you for that.
Laughing Goddess, that's where I created Laughing Goddess. I had an idea in my head, and then I was asking, just closing my eyes and asking, what shall I call this? And I just heard so clearly Laughing Goddess International. And I just simply said, okay. Now that was quite a long time ago. And I doubted that name many times and thought maybe I should call it something different. People were
Right.
using their own name like Elisha Gabriell International, or another name I thought of was One Light International. I knew it was going to be something international.
Right.
I kept going back and asking, is it still Laughing Goddess International? Yeah, it's still Laughing Goddess International.
Yeah, that's funny. Sometimes our ego gets in the way and, these
Yes.
limited beliefs or distractions. And then we're like, wait a second. When we have for instance, in your name, Laughing Goddess International, you kept asking and then you were like, oh, I don't know. And then, typically the first, answer or the first name or the first anything is accurate. It's the one that it is supposed to be, right? So I've learned that along the way because I used to doubt myself all the time. Every single time, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I use this name? And I'm here thinking about other people. And then I'm like, no, this has to do with me. I have to go inside of me. It's
Me
not
too.
about the outside world.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've learned, I've tapped into, even with creating my own businesses and stuff like that. It's always been downloads of either a name or information or a vision, something like that.
Yes, I love that you said that, and the way you said it just expressed that so beautifully, because we always have to check with our own inner wisdom and our own inner guidance and not use other people's best selves as a should for our own path.
That is true.
That is one of the main lessons to learn, because we all are so excited about all of the information that we learn on all these wonderful videos and all these brilliant teachers and masters of particular healing techniques and consciousness techniques. And we're so excited about those, but we have to remember to always test it within our own hearts, within our own inner guidance, so that we're not going off on wild goose chases following somebody else's path.
No, that is so true. That happened to me last year. I was doing a pre-podcast with a young lady, and she was like, she wasn't ready for, a actual podcast yet. She's still very at the beginning stages of her journey.
Mhm.
So I offered her, for some reason, I got like my guys telling me, well, why don't you like start like your coaching career, and then she use her like as a guinea pig, offer her that, see if she'll be interested, right? So I
Yes.
and she was super excited and all these things. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to use some of the teachings from Tony Robbins and some from, our Jay Spina and these other different
Yeah.
people that have helped me
Yep.
awaken.
Yep.
And then I'm literally on AI. I'm giving it all this information. I'm like, please, create this and do this and do that. And, I'm just guiding the whole process. And then
Yes.
I have everything already, even on Canva. I started creating the whole thing.
Oh, yes.
The workbook and everything. And then my guide stopped me and they said, everything that you're doing is great. All that information is great. And you will utilize some of that information, but you need to go inwards again. You need to go inwards and you need to make it a very unique coaching experience.
Yes. There you
To be
go.
an individual, unique coaching experience. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yes.
So I have to take a step back and I'm like, I got it. I'll just keep tapping in, and feel on it and
Yes.
see which direction I have to go.
Yeah.
But, that's really, really important because based on the things that you have gone through, based on the information you've learned, you really need to make that uniqueness in anything that
That's
you do
right.
because anybody could
Mhm.
copy anybody. But people need that uniqueness. People need what you have
That's
to
right.
offer them.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can bring through something that Tony Robbins never thought of.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that man is
Oh,
amazing. That's
you
Uncle
can,
Tony.
believe me. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. So,
It's so cool.
yeah. So how did your journey with the law of attraction begin and how has it evolved?
Well, I started reading like Napoleon Hill when I was in my late teens. 17 is when I really started. I
Wow.
started with Edgar Casey and Napoleon Hill. Can't remember anybody else from back then, but I know there were a few others of those really old masters that we still honor today. And I started with them when I was 17. And so I started learning the law of attraction way back then. And I started growing within that a little bit more and a little bit more. Every year I'd learn something a little bit more. And then at the time, my focus was on yoga. I joined a yoga teacher training organization called 3HO, Healthy, Happy, Holy Organization.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I had been teaching, I've been practicing yoga since my junior year in high school. And then when I went to college, I met up with this organization and started teaching daily classes. And of course, learning more and more and more. So my focus for a very long time was on yoga, on health, on wellness, on peace of mind. And I kind of forgot the law of attraction really for many years until it kind of resurfaced in a more powerful and more mainstream way. And then I started going, oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember Think and Grow Rich. I remember. And then, of course, I reread it and reread 1,000 other books on the law of attraction.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm still playing with it. Still, I've honed it down a whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and every year I get better at it. Every year it becomes more instantaneous. And every year I have something a little bit different to teach in my YouTube videos of how to use what I call the deeper dynamics of the law of attraction. There are many techniques that I see on YouTube that are very shallow and they promise instant results. And these are from pretty well-known teachers too. Say this affirmation once, say this prayer once, and your entire life will change. Well, I tried their prayer, I tried their affirmation, and my whole life did not change. And I know that many other people's lives, by saying it once, did not change.
No.
So there are deeper dynamics there. that we go into, that I go into in my courses, that I go into in my YouTube videos. And to me, that's the real law of attraction, is when you feel it in your energy field as if it is real, and you embody that new realization, that new dream, that new becoming. You embody that, and your energy field now contains that. Your energy field now
You become a container.
that frequency.
Yeah.
And so when you maintain that, and maintaining it is the hard part, of course, because we have so many stories and programs that we run our minds around. My recent thing I tell myself recently is stop thinking. I'll find myself going in while I'm doing the dishes, while I'm baking my cookies. I'm going into some past thing with a past boyfriend. I'm going into some past thing with some people I knew 5 years ago or 10.
Random
And it's
thoughts.
just running rapidly through my mind. And then I'll catch it and go, stop thinking. Just be. Be the pure action of putting the almond flour and the stevia and vanilla in the bowl. Be the pure action of that, and get out of your mind, because your mind is simply rerunning old programs, old stories that are what? Where you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago, the way you reacted in a certain relationship 10 years ago. And boy, you sure don't want to activate that within your system. So I'm finding the latest thing is stop thinking. Now, I may have positive I am affirmations playing, which I love to do while I'm baking or cooking. I love to have positive affirmation videos playing in the background. Then I pick different ones on different days, whatever mood I'm in that day. And so it's playing, and it is subtly and lightly programming my subconscious as I am in the pure focus of the pure action of baking cookies, or like I did this morning, made a potato, pea, chicken curry. And
that sounds yummy.
I did both those things this morning, so I'm having what I call a domestic bliss day.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. That sounded like me last night. It was funny because I went through something, and then I had to tell myself, wait a second, you don't give your power away to this situation. I need to cook. This is cooking time, so I'm gonna be present. It's being present, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do a marry me chicken.
Yes.
And it was so yummy, so delicious, and it was healthy, and I was just like, and it's funny because I go from vegan to back to like the meats. It's like back and forth depending on the seasons for me.
Yes, I do too.
So,
I do too.
Yeah, I don't marry myself to like one thing. I just can't do it.
Here. Absolutely. I don't believe that we're meant to fit ourselves into a very narrow slot.
Exactly.
I can't eat that. Well, I can't eat that. The point of being you is that you are unique.
Exactly.
And honor your uniqueness. And guess what? For women, that changes with the moon, with the phases of the moon. That changes with our body chemistry. And your body chemistry that you are at the beginning of your cycle is very different than it is at the middle of your cycle. Is very different as it is to the end of your moon cycle, your monthly cycle. Body chemistry changes all the time. And what do I want to say? The purpose of being you is to learn that subtlety of when it's perfect for you to have chicken or turkey or salmon.
Exactly.
And when it's perfect for you to have maybe 3 days in a row, maybe a week in a row of nuts and seeds and butters, nuts and seed butters and seeds as your protein source for that period, whether that's 2 days, whether that's 2 weeks, whether that's 3 weeks. And that really is the purpose of being your unique self, is not following other people's beliefs about what you should be on any level.
Yes, I agree. I actually tapped into Ayurveda about 2 years ago when I was going through my healing journey, healing my mental, my body, because I got very sick. and I was tapping into like different things that I, as a woman, because nobody tells us, our parents, our grandparents,
Yes.
nobody told them either that when you get to a
Yes.
certain age as a woman in
Yes.
this avatar, in this vessel, you could tend to have all kinds of things happen. Your hormones could just go ballistics. You can
Mhm.
lose your hair, you can lose your energy.
Mhm.
There's so many things that happen as soon as we hit
Mhm.
40. At least that's what it was
Yeah.
for me. And I'm just like, why am
Mhm.
I feeling all these things? I thought I was going nuts.
Yeah.
And I went and I checked my hormones and everything, and they're like, no, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not fine. Something's happening. So I tapped into Ayurveda and I realized that we are seasonal beings. So
Yeah.
depending on the season, we
Mhm.
we should have certain type of foods to nourish our bodies, to make us feel good and safe, and you know what I mean, and healthy. And I was like, oh
Yes.
my God, that makes so much sense. And it took me, about a year, a little over a year and a half to, get to that point of feeling good. And now
Yes.
I'm about, I want to say maybe 75% of my health, both mentally and physically there. And I'm not stopping. I got to get to that 100 plus,
Yeah.
you know?
Me too. And
Yeah.
let's bring the law of attraction into that because,
Uh-huh.
again, I was just reminded, revel in your good health. I am so much healthier than so many other people. And I
Uh-huh.
think your listeners are as well. You
Yeah.
know, I may not have perfect health, but by golly, I am so much healthier than so many millions of people that are
Yeah.
not, who do not have the blessings of good health that I have, though I have
Yes.
challenges.
Of course.
And to focus on the wonderful parts. Every time I can move and I can stretch up and I can stretch down and stretch out my spine and, do the 15 minutes of yoga that I do when I wake up in the morning. I am so grateful that I can move the way I can move. And the
That's beautiful.
reminder just came, revel in your good health.
Mm.
And that becomes the dominant frequency of your physical expression. What you
Mm.
focus on, you create.
Yep.
And
I
so
agree.
notice it, how joyous it is to go for a hike, whether it's a short hike or a long hike. Notice
Yeah.
that and give thanks for that. Celebrate the health and the vitality that is in your body right now while you are still working on allowing more perfect health to embody.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? We have to learn as human beings to be grateful for our health
Yeah.
and, take our health very serious and really, if you have questions, research. Nowadays, all you have to do is go online. There's all kinds of
That's right.
information, or,
Absolutely.
or tap into your higher self, ask your higher self, what do you need? What
Yes.
is it that my body needs? What is it that my mental needs? You might need to go out and walk in nature, go to, put your head
Yes.
on a tree and connect with that tree
Yes.
energy. There's so many things you can do to heal yourself because
That's
I
right.
refuse to go the other route, the program route.
Yeah.
I
Same
decided,
here.
no, I want to heal myself. I know we are
Yeah.
powerful beings. I don't want to be in this whole matrix, false matrix reality of programming. And I just want to do this myself. And it might take long, but it's okay. Because back then I was still learning. When you're learning something and you're integrating, it takes time. So that brings me into asking you, because I'm curious. And I've tapped into like other people on podcasts, like channels and mediums and all kinds of amazing, beautiful people. And it took them from like point A to point, let's say B, to
Yes.
grow. It takes years sometimes. And once you
Yes.
tap in, once you got your gifts and all that stuff, you could have one gift, two gifts. There's many that you could tap into, endless gifts that we all have. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm here in my mind, my ego saying, well, it's been 2 years. Yes, you've tapped into some gifts, but I'm not seeing, like my channel side. I'm not seeing this other side, like really activating and really coming forth
Mhm.
and then, I
Mhm.
realized, wait a second, I am not like everybody else. We all are in our own individual journeys. Some people could take them 2 years, 8 years, 10 years,
Yes.
but every year,
Yes.
every time you're developing a new gift, you're developing
Yes.
something different. So it's
Yes.
patience and love for yourself. You have to
There
have
you
the
go.
patience and the love to be in this spiritual journey process, because it's a very intense process, but
Yeah,
beautiful,
it is.
beautiful.
It is, for sure. And self-love is one of the deeper dynamics of the law of
Mm,
attraction because, take the time to appreciate your heart. Take the time to appreciate the flow of the bloodstream that circulates through your entire body and is refreshed by the liver, rejuvenated by the liver, and set free within the stream of your blood.
yeah.
Take time to appreciate, not only appreciate, but to consciously send love to your knees, to your hips, to your eyes, because
Yeah,
they are living consciousness and everything responds to the frequency of love, to the essence of love, which is the exact same thing as the essence of life. And the more you can express love to the different parts of your body, the more life, the vitality of life is set free within you to express physically. So
that is
again, the deeper
true.
dynamics of the law of attraction.
Yeah, I had to dive so deep into my own self-love because I had lost myself completely a couple of years ago, to the point where I got so sick, and I didn't know who I was. I was so
Yeah.
defined by so many different characters and so many different things in my life. And
Mhm.
finally, I was like, I don't know who I am, and I had no self-love for me. And I had to
Yeah.
start, gaining that and learning what that meant, and feeling into it and bringing it in and honing into it on it, and just saying like, oh my God, wait a second. Self-love. If I don't have self-love for myself, if I don't love myself deeply, how can I love someone else?
That's right. Yes,
And
absolutely. I had to go through the same thing.
you went
I
through the
think it's
same thing.
kind of, oh yeah, I think it's kind of normal that we start out with, now this is not 100% for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Everybody's different.
it's normal. It's average that people start out with parents who program them in ways not to believe in themselves,
Mm,
not to not to acknowledge their uniqueness. But
exactly.
you're one of 4 kids, and we expect you to get good grades. We expect you to do your chores. Who you are deeper than that, we don't care about. We just
Yeah.
want you to be good. Don't shame our family. Don't get in trouble with the law.
Yeah.
And so most of us were raised that way. And there are a few people that I've heard that said, my parents were the best in the world and they gave
Yeah.
me everything I needed to
They're
shine
very
my
few in
light.
between. There's so few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
And
it's crazy. Go ahead.
I
It's
can't remember what I was going to say.
it's okay. It's crazy because, our parents and even us as parents, with that old programming, we really messed up our kids, you know what I mean? And
Yes,
then
I
they
do.
go ahead and mess up their kids, and it's like a chain
Yeah.
reaction. And
Yeah.
then you're like, wait a second, yes, you have to have like certain rules and certain things in life. You have to know
Yes.
I guess the right things to do, the not so right things to do, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to go and steal a car because you're gonna end up, in jail. You just got to know
Right.
that. And it's good
Yes.
to teach your kids, those things, but then you cannot take their power away.
Yes,
And one of the
exactly.
things that I realized not long ago, my son texts me and he's like, "Oh yeah, we had to cut Anaya's hair because she's not taking care of her hair." And she had very, very, very long hair. And it was her other grandmother, her step grandmother, that decided that, oh, I'm just gonna cut her hair without even
Oh my.
talking to my son about it. And back
Wow.
that was a few months ago. Back then I was still not as tapped in as I am now. It's like every day I get more and more tapped in.
Same
And then
here.
right? And then I realized, wait a second. She literally took her power away because she didn't allow
Yes.
her to have a say in anything.
Yes.
And that is one of the ways that we as human beings lose our power, when the
Yeah.
adults think, hey, this is the way it needs to be. And then you just don't ask let's say your kids or your grandkids, hey, if you don't, in this instance, if you don't brush your hair, if you don't take care of your long hair, that is so beautiful, then we're going to have to make a decision. And you're going to
Yes.
have to be part of this decision, but we're going to have to
That's
cut
right.
your hair because you're not taking
Yep.
care of it. That is different than say, guess what? You're not doing this. I'm just going to cut it.
Yes, for
You don't
sure.
realize that you take that individual's power. And now
Yes.
you're creating all kinds of different triggers, all kinds of limited beliefs, all kinds of stuff. And finally, my son said, Mom, I realized the same thing, that her power was taken away. And I said,
Yes.
absolutely. I'm like, we
Yeah.
can't do that. We have to be different. We have to get away from the old school programming.
Yeah.
We have to treat this new, especially these new kids that are coming in, differently because they are super smart. And
That's
they're
right.
in tune and they're tapped in. And if we take that
Yep.
from them, now we're doing to them what our parents did to us, what
That's
was done
right.
to them, and just keep going, for,
Absolutely. It
so
has
many
to stop.
generations back. It
It
has to
has to
stop.
stop somewhere, and that somewhere is as soon as possible.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, I wanted to ask, can you share about the 105 words of power and their unique impact in the manifestation? Because I know you're all about manifestation and more,
Yeah.
but can we tap into that 105 words?
Yes, we can. These are affirmations that I made for myself. As I almost start with every tool, I do it for myself first. And then I read those to myself in the morning at some point. I have a lot of different things I do in the mornings to align with my highest possible being and my highest possible expression for that day. But I started reading them to myself and I went, you know what? I'm going to offer these as a free gift on my website because I want to share them with people too. They're very powerful and they come from different places of wholeness within all of us. Some of those places of wholeness are humor. The affirmation makes me laugh and lights me up and will light up the person that reads it if they accept it. The second place they come from is sheer focus and power within my I am presence, within your I am presence. And so many of the affirmations, the power, each one is a power activation because when you say I am, fill in the blank, that is an activation. And that is activating from your highest possible self, which is always your I am presence. So many of the activations come from that place. Many of them come from releasing. I am now going to release this particular thing. And of course, each affirmation uses different words and different frequencies. So that, by golly, when you read 10 of those in a row, you are already activated and you are expanded into your higher self. With 105, because you know what? If I say the same affirmation 20 times for 5 days in a row, then I've kind of done with that affirmation. It's not that I'm tired of it, but I've integrated what I can from that particular frequency in that moment. And so I'll look for something else to reactivate where I am right now, because each bunch of affirmations will move you to a new place within inside of yourself where you don't really need those affirmations in this new moment. So that's why I created 105 so that each person can maybe pick 3 affirmations a day and do those as long as it feels fresh and new and that it's activating who you are in the best possible way. Then they can drop those 3 affirmations and go to another 2 or 3 affirmations that reach that place inside of you that responds on a very deep level. And that's why there are 105, because we are changing beings, we are evolving, we are growing. And so these different groups of affirmations, and you can pick and choose whichever ones touch you, inspire you to be your true self. And you can use those for a week, then go to another 3 or another 2. You can design them for your own growth and your own awakening, which is what these are all about, is awakening to who you really are. And they're free. They're free. Go to my website.
That is beautiful the way you said that, because what I got from that was, sometimes when we look at the affirmations, depending on who is, what guru or what person that is coaching or whatever, or is bringing up these different affirmations or the way to do them, they don't tell you. And I think there's so many ways of doing things and integrating. But I think sometimes if, we in our heads, I know for me, now you gave me a little bit more clarity with that. Because for me, it's like, okay, how many times do I have to do this affirmation and for how long?
Exactly.
And then you
Yeah.
broke it down to, well, it depends. It could be 5 days, it could be a week, it could be less, it could be more. Just whatever that affirmation is, and this is what I got, is that if it resonates with you, and if you feel that in 5 days you have integrated it into your system, now it's okay to go grab another affirmation or 2 or 3, whatever that looks like. But you don't have to stay with the same one, because as you repeat things, we have words or spells. So you are actually
Yes.
using that. And it could be a form of hypnosis as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you're integrating it. And once you feel that energy in your body, then, okay, jump to the next one and keep going, because all you're
Yes.
doing is reprogramming your
Yes.
system and
Yes.
brushing off the old school programming, which is what we
Yes.
need to, that's what we're doing. That's what we need to do. That's what humanity needs to awaken to is, hello, you have to deprogram yourself. Okay, pretty much fully lose who you are, who you thought you were, and then
Yes.
rebuild and start reprogramming yourself to this new, amazing, beautiful being that you are. Everything's
Absolutely.
inside of us already. There's nothing outside of us.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes.
within us.
Yes. So that's one of my just gifts to anybody that comes to my website. Come on down.
Oh, that's
Get your
beautiful.
free affirmation.
Yeah, right. We'll get that. We'll get to that at the end when we give all that
Yeah.
information.
And
Definitely.
there's lots of joy in there and lots of laughter. And laughter awakens every cell of your being.
Okay.
Laughter and joy are the highest frequencies of the frequency wheel of God, source creator.
It's funny you say that, because that brings us into the next question. How do you
Oh, cool.
incorporate humor and laughter into spiritual growth and healing?
Well, that is how. I mean, I laugh at myself probably 5 times a day. I just crack myself up. I will say something I really think is funny, or I will do something that is so stupid and unaware that all I can do is laugh at myself. And by laughing at myself, it's not a derisive laughter, it's a
No.
joyful laughter. Did you see what you just did? Did you see what you just thought? And then I'll just laugh, and that laughter just cleanses my whole energy field, and then go on again and move
That's
back
beautiful.
into my light.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
beautiful.
I mean, that's what my life is about. People tell me, "You're so funny." I'll go, Am I funny? Well, I guess so. People tell me
Well,
I'm
you're
funny.
the laughing goddess.
I guess so. And to
That is
me,
funny.
I call it Laughing Goddess because it's a place to activate joy. It's a place to activate deep healing, awakening, abundance. All of that can be activated through the deeper forces of love and joy. And joy is one of the rainbow frequencies of love. Love is a rainbow of frequencies because love is the essence of Source Creator. And
Yep.
Source Creator is a spectrum that we can't even imagine. I think it's even more than anybody has ever tried to describe.
Yeah. Well,
Because
it's
we
funny
have our
because
little, yeah,
go ahead.
go
No,
ahead.
it's funny because quantum physics is now pretty much putting science and spirituality as together.
Yeah,
They're intertwined, because science pretty much uncovers and tells you what every little thing in spirituality is, which
yes,
before they wouldn't. Before it was like, oh no, that makes no sense. And now they're diving deeper and deeper into this whole spiritual like cosmos of
yeah,
frequencies and information and things. And I'm just like, man, that makes so much sense. I mean, we are energy
yeah,
beings. And as we
yeah,
raise our frequencies, our light shine. And then, of course,
yeah.
we're going to attract not only those beautiful beings, but we're going to also attract the not so beautiful ones because of the light. But then our job
Yes,
is
ma'am.
to, help, with our presence, with our energies, with how we walk on this earth and how we, help other people to awaken in our journeys. That's how we can, offset that darkness and bring it to the light as well.
Yes. And again, it's what you focus on.
Yeah.
If you have a dark being that is tormenting you or trying to torment you, there is a part of you that is either accepting that, allowing it, or consciously or unconsciously creating it. You may be drawing a dark being to you. I know I did many years ago for fun. I literally for fun. For me, it was a challenge. I want to have some dark beings. I want to see some monsters in my inner sight. And so I did. And to me, it was just fun. Okay, I see you now. Go home. Go where you belong. Go back to where you belong. Because my light is so much more powerful than any illusionary darkness. And I used to tell my kids when they were little, and talking about monsters, there might be a monster in my closet. When they're trying to go to sleep, I would say, well, sweetie, if you see a monster, send him love, because monsters are beings who desperately need love and who may not even know what love is. And you might be the first person that introduces that beautiful, powerful vibration to a monster. So if you see a monster, you bring your hands up and you use your shamanic breath. You pull the energy from your heart and you blow that right into the heart of the monster. And the monster will change right before your eyes. That monster might change into Winnie the Pooh right before your eyes.
That's hilarious. That is funny. But that is very true. And that's another way of helping the spirits from the underworld get to the light. That's one way.
Yes.
There's another way that I've learned that I do. And honestly, I don't even see spirits from the underworld as demons or any of that anymore. To me, I've learned they were just human beings that lived on this earth once upon a time. And something happened in their life. They passed, or they got killed or murdered or died in an accident or committed suicide, whatever that was. And they were never able to forgive themselves and forgive others. So therefore, they're in that underworld going through the same thing over and over and over. That's their hell. And then now when they come to me, because I feel them, I see them, like they sometimes come and I'm like, okay, dude, this is not the time. I see you. I know you need my help, but right now I'm not in that headspace. Please come back later. I've set boundaries, but I would literally say, sometimes I'll call upon Archangel Michael and say, can you assist me in helping them, ascending them to the light? That's all they need, is to be helped, guided to that light. And it's funny because when I was 7 years old, I had a situation that happened, and I was sleeping with my parents, and I was in the corner of the bed, and the bed underneath had like this fog, like this white fog, and then a hand reached over to grab my leg. And it was scary. I didn't understand what it was, but I was always so connected to the spiritual realm, to the spirits. So I grew up in Catholic and in shamanism. So I was always around the Cuban Santeria, the Cuban shamanism. And I was never really scared of those things, even though sometimes I saw them very dark. But what I asked my grandmother, because she was the shaman in the family, one of them, I asked her, I said, this happened to me. What is it? And she's like, well, you have a very bright light and they are attracted to your light. Therefore, they're not coming to harm you. They just don't know how to ask for help.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, but I didn't really understand it. I didn't really into it. Now that I've learned and I'm in this realm, finally, like consistently in the spiritual realm, I'm like, oh, looking back, I said, oh, that's what my grandmother meant. So I am a light worker, and they're coming to me because of the light that they're attracted to, and all they need is help. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And some people are so scared to tap into that. And for me, it's like, no, they need us. We need more light workers in this world so we could elevate those frequencies.
Yes. When you walk into any dark room, all it takes is to switch the light up, and the light dispels the darkness. And
100%.
That's what I do. And that's what I do in my angel light infusions. We don't try to figure out where that darkness is coming from, and let's identify it and give it a label and really focus on it and give
No,
it an identity and
go
strengthen
right
its
in there.
presence in your life. Bring the light in, and that dispels the darkness. And
Exactly.
every person listening to this has that ability. I know that there are people that do not believe that they have the ability, but please hear my words that you have the ability to dispel any darkness in your life, because that light
100%.
of Source Creator is inside of you. You are a spark of Source Creator, and all you have
Yep.
to do is believe it and claim it and own it, and you can dispel darkness in your life.
Yeah, no, that I agree, and that's also something that I've learned. And one of the people that I follow, he talks about the law of one and how we are all one. We're all connected. We're all source God creators. So we're not different. We're not, no, we are that God source creator.
Yes,
We're not
yes,
outside of that, and some people don't know that. Some
exactly.
people have been so programmed to say,
And
no, God is outside of you and you got to go and search for him. No,
that's
he's
right.
inside.
And
He's
that's
inside of us.
right.
We are
That's right.
God.
Shoulder over your
I
shoulder.
mean, it's just common sense. I mean, sometimes common sense is not so common, but to me, it's like common sense, dude. Like, if we're all connected, we're energy, and the universe, everything is frequency, including us. Everything is just connected, intertwined, and we are that.
Yes, we are that. And that
Yeah.
is the whole journey of every soul. Souls,
The
people
awakening.
that you see on the streets, living on the street with a backpack and all their stuff in a shabby backpack, and their clothes are shabby and their energy field is gray. They are
Mm,
also on this journey of awakening.
yeah.
They are at a more beginning stage than you are in most cases. And, every person, as you go by, blow that shamanic breath of love into their heart as you go by, or imagine, ask your angels to help you sprinkle white light over that person as you go by.
That's
You have
beautiful.
the power to change the world, starting with yourself, and everything that is drawn to you, you have the power to uplift that.
That is true. Very true. Now, what are the most common blocks people face in manifesting, and how do they help? How do you help them overcome that?
I thought you were going to tell me the most common block of manifesting.
No, you're the expert.
Oh, I got it. I'm on it. The most common. Oh, it's so easy because I had to go through it myself. And that is low self-worth, not
Mm,
deserving, and not believing that it's possible. Those three things are just such major blocks. And as I've said, I had to go through them myself and
mm.
have mostly gotten all the way through them. I haven't had lower stuff that I've had to deal with very recently.
That's a
But
blessing.
yes, even as far as 4 years ago, I was renting a room from a nice guy, no hanky panky at all high integrity stuff. I just happened to be renting a room from him. And
Nice.
in the morning, he had a deck out in the east, and I would go stand out there and greet the sun as it came up. And I made this affirmation for myself, and I would say this affirmation into the sun and ask the sun to activate that within my energy field as it rose in the sky. And that affirmation is, I am magnificently loved and worthy of every good thing. And I would put both hands over my heart center, which is always your power center.
Mm,
I am
that's
magnificently loved and worthy of every good thing, because I knew that I needed it. Now, while this one day I was standing out there and I said, again, I am magnificently loved and worthy of every good thing. And the word every rose up out of that sentence and hung in the air right there. And there's the word every hanging in the air. I could see it. And I went, oh, you're right. I don't believe that I'm worthy of every good thing. I believe that I'm worthy of many good things, but I don't know. I can't put my hand up for every good thing.
right.
Every good thing in the whole world, in the whole universe. I can't do that. And that was as close as 4 to 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I knew immediately that I had to work on that. I am worthy of every, and I would make the word every louder and stronger and believe it and embody it. I am worthy. I am magnificently loved and worthy of every good thing that could be from any universe, any dimension, any living being in this, on this earth, anything on any level. Fabulous health, fabulous prosperity, fabulous love, fabulous gifts awakened. I am worthy of every good thing. And that has been a journey of years for me. And
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I've kind of got it covered right now. But boy, it took me probably 5 years. And I made it, put it on a note card. I have a little grotto type area in the back with an angel statue and some special crystals. And I put it in there. I am
Wow.
magnificently loved and worthy of every good thing. And I would just walking by it and I would stop and look at it. For years I did that, or morning and evening. And
Beautiful.
it finally took.
Yeah. Sometimes when you think it took, then wait, there's another
That's
lesson. There's
true.
something else
That's
that you need to
true.
learn before it takes
Yep,
completely. Because I've
that's
noticed that I'm
true.
like, wait a second, I thought it was good. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, this came up. It's because there's something still there in that energy field,
yeah,
something that I
that's
got to
right.
work through, something that I got to release,
Yep,
something that I have to do so I can actually move forward.
yeah.
Things
And
don't just show up to show up.
that's why it took me 4 to 5 years. I didn't say this sentence once and be completely enlightened. No, it took me 4 to 5 years of working with that particular affirmation on and off before I was to the point where I was ready to release old patterns that kept that
Mm,
lower frequency and that lower self-worth in place.
mm.
Like I say, that took me a while. It may take someone else a year. It may take
Yep.
someone else 6 months. It may take someone else 10 years. I don't know. But that's what it took me. It
Everybody's
took me 4 to
different.
5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All journeys are individual. Like for me, it
Yeah.
was like a year and a half of just doing a lot of shadow work and self
Yeah.
healing and trying to not lose my energy when I would go out and, all these things that would make me sick. And then finally, my friend Katarina, she's a healer and a shaman. She does Reiki, all kinds of really cool stuff. And she helped me a lot. And she said, well, why don't you try Vipassana meditation? Why don't you go to a 10-day silent retreat? And I was like, I don't know if I could do 10 days. I don't know if I can be silent for 10 days. It felt like a lot. And
It is
finally
a lot.
tapped into that energy. And I felt my guide saying, this is the step this is what you need to do for your next step of evolution, for you to grow. This is what's going to help you
Cool.
release the rest of the things. And I was like, okay. So I, logged in, I made an account, I was looking for dates. Nothing was showing up for months. Nothing was
Oh
showing up
my.
in the dates that I wanted. And I'm just like, maybe it's not time yet. Okay. I'll be patient. I'll wait. Finally, I was able to put myself in a wait list for October. And that wasn't for sure. They'll contact you if they have people fall out. So 2 weeks before the actual date in October, I was contacted saying there might be someone that might not be coming and you could get in. And I
Oh.
was like, okay. And I'm here telling my husband, he's like, are you ready? And I said, ready or not, here I come. And, I kept like,
Woohoo!
I did everything, the paperwork, whatever I needed to do, read all the things. And then a week, less than a week later, a week before the day that I was supposed to leave, she contacts me again. She's like, we're having some people fall out. Give me a couple of days. Let me get the list in order and then I'll contact you. She contacts me literally 2 days before. And I was already packed.
Whoa.
I was packed. I'm a planner
Yes.
by nature.
Yes.
And I was already packed. I'm like, in case she calls me, we're ready. My husband will drop me off and, he'll stay with the dogs for the 10 days. So she ended up messaging me and she's like, you're in. And I was like, I'm going. And it became reality. And I was like, holy crap. I said, all right, well, let's do this. Let me tell you what a change in everything, because that meditation is the Buddha meditation, which focuses on mind and matter to release. You become the observer of your mind, of, like sensations in your body. You don't react to anything. You're just there and you just observe everything.
Yeah.
You don't make yourself wrong for something. You don't say, I'm doing this wrong. Oh, I'm not meditating right. No, you just say, you know what? This is perfect. I'm just
Yes.
observing all of it. And
Perfect.
let me tell you that has helped me so much. And I do it every day. Every morning I get up and I do my meditation, my hour meditation. My husband's doing it. And guess what? He's leaving at the end of the month for 10 days. He's doing his 10-day silent retreat.
Oh my gosh.
Because he saw
Wow.
the change in me. He saw like such a drastic change. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And I said, honey, it's going to help. And him meditating every morning, it helps. It's helped me in my life.
Well, I'm really curious. What were the biggest changes? What did you get out of that 10 days of silence?
I was able to not react to things, not react to the thoughts, not feed into the thoughts, love myself more. Just know that everything's always changing. Life is always changing. You don't attach to anything. It's just so many different lessons. I even had on day 7, my fire element activated. I was burning up and it was cold outside and cold inside the meditation hall and everything. And I'm just like,
holy moly.
And then it's funny because in the middle of the day, I remember that the night before we had we do like this I think they're called this I don't know if they're called disclosures or what, but you sit for like an hour, and then Cuenca, which he's passed now, but he was the teacher, the main teacher of Vipassana, and he said something about the fire element. But I didn't tap into it until the next day that I realized, wait a second, I literally activated my fire element and I'm releasing everything. Everything is just burning.
Wow.
All of it is burning. It was so amazing. And it's funny because when I got back, I went through things. The integration was extremely hard. I had things happen, but overall, I cannot emphasize enough. It is important to try something like this. It's another level. It's another level of healing,
amazing.
of awakening. It's just another level.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll send you the information if you've never done it.
Incredible.
It's beautiful. They have it all over the world. There's places everywhere.
And what is it called?
It's called Vipassana 10-day silent retreat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they have an app and everything, and it's free. It's actually donation based, and you have your own spot where individual rooms, like little dorms, and you have your own private area, and then you have a schedule. You know what you're doing every single day. You know what I mean? And you have literally no responsibilities but yourself. No cell phones, no computers, like no contact to the outside world, nothing. You're 100% focused on you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool. So we're getting close to the end of our podcast, but I have a couple of more questions I want to ask. And one of them is, what benefits can someone new to the spiritual practices expect from the angelic light sessions?
Well, what someone new can expect is to possibly feel the frequency of the living, real angels for the first time. And I know that usually when someone is new, that's kind of where they start, is with something that's safe to them, something that is naturally uplifting and makes them feel at home and comforted and in their heart. And that's what the angels do. So that is one thing that they can expect from that. Someone that's new, someone that's old, it doesn't matter, because the angels work with frequency. Every angel is the master of their own particular frequency, which is why you have angels for prosperity, angels for health, angels for love relationships, angels for career, angels for healing, because each particular angel is an embodiment, a living intelligence of that frequency of Source Creator or God, whatever word you use.
Yes.
And that angel embodies that. And when the angels that I work as a team, they asked me 15 years ago, or actually they told me 15 years ago, we are the angels from the heart of God, and we would like to work with you. So this present day offering is the result of that from many years ago. We now have put this together. We work as a team.
Beautiful.
Together. I set the frequency, tune into I engage the client so that we as a team know what it is she would like to, the result she would like from this session. And
Right.
then we get busy, and the angels can scan the energy field of the client and go exactly where they see a darkness, like a little dark, foggy area in the bright, overall bright energy field. And that particular angel that is the master of that frequency can then head right into that dark spot and dissolve it. And then we work with affirmations, and we work with the color rays, which have been used in healing. I know I started working with the color rays when I was 17 or 18 and started
Wow.
embodying my ability as a healer, awakening, I should say, my abilities as a healer. And the color rays have been used in healing temples throughout history, throughout Egypt, throughout Atlantis, throughout Lemuria, throughout, gosh, I'm forgetting one of those big civilizations. But anyway, every large ancient civilization that was in touch with healing technology had healing temples where the color rays were used to dissolve frequencies that were not the
Even
true.
the Catholic churches had that at some point, where they had those beautiful crystals with the different colors, like the windows. They had like different colors, and when the sun would hit it, the different colors rays will come
Very
in.
cool. Very cool. I
Yeah,
did not
it was
know.
pretty cool. But I think now all that has been, I guess, taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure. They're just pretty windows.
They're just pretty
But
windows,
that's what
all
we
right?
do. We work with, it's about 3 or 4 different steps of processes of bringing you to the light that you really are. And I have you affirm specific frequencies that are needed in order to maintain, to create that light, to blast that dark area and remove it, dissolve it, and then to maintain it. And I have you repeat specific I am affirmation.
So that's what they call like blockages in your energy field.
Yeah. Yep. They're just dense areas where the energy is not moving and sparkling. It's dense, and it has become darker over time as your beliefs have cemented it into place, really.
Yeah. And we're really, as human beings, we're really good at tapping into that, or
Aren't
that
we?
those negative words or those darkness,
Yes.
but rather than the other side. But I think we're starting to shift now, so we're good. I think we're
I think so
eventually.
too.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're
I
headed
think
in
so.
the right
I know
direction.
I have. I've really shifted, and a lot of my friends have as well. My friends
That's
that I talk
beautiful.
with are going through many, many of the same things that we're all going through together.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and we're right now in the mother energy, in the mother wound energy, and that's beautiful. The 2025, it's going to bring a lot of amazing, amazing energies and gifts, and
Sure is.
all kinds of stuff. It's going to be
Yep.
good overall.
Yeah, it's a 9-year. It's a 9-year, and so it's the completion of many different levels of healing on every dimension and reality that you can imagine, and some that you can't even imagine that is still going on. Just because we can't imagine it doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah, very, very true. I agree with that. Now, how do you suggest people reconnect with joy and laughter when life feels heavy? Because that's
I'm going
hard.
to lead you right now in a visualization, a meditation, an inner journey that awakens joy within you. So we're going to do that right now. May I
Let's do that.
begin?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Go for it.
So I'd like you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Inhale long and deep and fill your lungs with life force. And exhale. And inhale, all the lungs feel the sparkling life force. And exhale. And one more time. Inhale deep, fill your lungs, fill every cell of your body with light, and relax. And I'd like you now to bring your attention to your heart center. As I mentioned before, your heart center is always your power point. The Native Americans call the heart the center of the medicine wheel. I call it the center of your moving, living, embodied matrix of light. So move now into your heart center and imagine a beautiful pink light there sparkling. sparkling and shining and moving. It's a living light. It's not 3D. It's not an image. It's a living force that is always within you. This is the essence of who you are. Beautiful love, beautiful light, a being made of love. So enjoy this feeling as you remember a time when you felt great joy. Go there now. Focus on that experience. Focus more and more on this lighthearted, joyous feeling. Let it fill your entire energy field, with sparkling, living light. And next, I want you to tap in to that place inside of you that is your inner child of light, not your wounded inner child, the inner child of light, because we always have a polarity. If you have a wounded inner child, then you have the polarity of the inner child of light. This inner child plays in a field of glorious flowers, and she runs. The sun is shining, a gentle sun, and she runs from flower to flower, holding each petal in her hand and gazing deep into the essence, the beauty, and the joy that that particular flower expresses. She talks to butterflies, she talks to ladybugs, and she soaks up the warm sun. So next, this beautiful, lighthearted, playful inner child turns and she faces you. She looks into your eyes with her eyes filled with love and laughter, and she has a message just for you. She wants to give you a message that will tell you and show you how you can embody and how you can express and experience more joy in your life. So sit quietly now. I'll give you 10, 15 seconds to receive this message. This is easy for you because this is a part of you that is speaking to you, speaking to your heart, speaking into your eyes, into your energy field. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to count to 10 or 15 and now receive this message that this beautiful inner child, your own inner child, has for you. And you inhale and exhale, and the message is complete. The message is not only received in words or in images, but also energetically. You can feel the message sizzling and sparkling within your energy field as you understand it and accept it.
And so it is.
This joy that you have opened to becoming in this moment can carry you through each stage of your awakening to your next cycle, your next moments, your next embodiment of self-realization. Life is a series of contrasts and polarities, upward spirals and downward spirals, as we were talking about. And they are a natural part of life. Whether it's an up cycle or a down cycle, is an opportunity that you have to find that light within yourself again. It is an opportunity for you to awaken just a little bit more. And so each opportunity is loved and blessed and taken fully and embraced. How can I embrace this opportunity to grow in the highest way possible? And the angels will tell you right now that joy is their frequency. Joy is one of the highest frequencies of love that you can use to move through those constricted or condensed cycles that you might prefer not to. But when you can fully embrace it as an opportunity to live more fully within your I am presence, then you can welcome that. Oh boy, I got another one. I can move more fully into my light, and ask the angels of joy to help you move through it. And so it is. Thank you.
So it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Elisha, that was beautiful. and I got my message, and it was that I need to stay in my heart no matter what that situation is,
Wow.
the circumstance.
Yeah.
I need to stay in my heart always. And then I felt this amazing energy hugging me around my waist from the back.
Oh, that is so sweet. My
And
God.
it was
That
so
is
like, I felt
so
the energy. I'm like,
sweet.
oh, wow, okay, this is good.
Wow. Yeah. Good. I'm so glad. That's just amazing. Yeah.
I appreciate that meditation. Now we're going into, the end of our show, and I like to ask 3 closing questions. The first question is, here are 3, let me see. What legacy do you hope Laughing Goddess International leaves for future generations of spiritual seekers?
I hope that Laughing Goddess continues to give tools that are very effective for hundreds of thousands, millions of people around the world to be able to move into their own power and their ability to create their own worlds exactly the ways they want them to. And that is my main message, is that every one of us is creating our own world through our thoughts, through our emotions, through our intentions, and through our beliefs. And so you are a powerful co-creator. You are a master co-creator of your own world. You can create perfect health. You can create perfect wealth. You can create perfect inner peace, and you can become perfect love. Now, you cannot do that from your human self, because the human self does not experience perfection. The human self will always pull you down to doubts and fears, but you can experience that through your I am presence. And all of us on a spiritual journey are consciously or unconsciously working with an ascended master who is guiding our journey, helping you, teaching you, showing you how to mold and shape your life as you move toward the top of the mountain, which is complete self-realization. And that's my message.
That's beautiful. Now, if you could offer one piece of advice to someone looking to embrace joy and empowerment in their life, what would that message be? What would that piece of advice be?
Always move into your heart. Joy is not in the mind. False joy is in the mind. False happiness is in the mind. True joy, that true spark of joy, is always within the heart. So look there, go there, become that.
And so it is. I just had 1:11 on my on the timer. Oh, not on the clock, on the timer for the recording. I was like, oh, confirmation. So true. So how can listeners stay connected with your work and continue learning from you after this conversation?
Well, please go to my website, which is www.laughinggoddess.international. I tried to find laughinggoddess.com, but it wasn't available. And I always saw my business as being international. I always wanted to touch hearts and minds around the world with my message of love and power, divine power that we have inside of us to create our worlds. And as we each create, our own world, when each of us reaches that dream, and there's always another dream, it's not an end, there's always another beginning. So when each of us creates that place inside of us, living from our I am presence, living from self-realization, living from joy, then that affects the entire matrix of all that is. Every time one person becomes living joy, it affects and uplifts the entire matrix of everything that is. So anyway, so Laughing God International, my books, my courses, my workshops, my little songs that I call songs of nature and light. And they're just little simple songs, but they popped out of my brain or out of my consciousness, out of my heart, and they might lift you with their message.
Nice. Are you on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, or just on your website?
I'm on YouTube. I did 150 videos in 2023 that I did through TikTok on the deeper dynamics of the law of attraction and the force of love. And then I lost access to them. I got a new phone, and that new phone would not let me go into my own account and create more. So I switched over to YouTube, which I really like better because people on YouTube are a little bit more serious about their own growth and their own realization. And TikTok can be more entertainment, whereas YouTube is more learning. And so
That
now
is
I
true.
have, YouTube, look for Elisha Gabriell, and it will come up. It's not the exact address because I haven't been able to nail down the exact address.
It's okay. No worries.
Every time I look at
I will
something,
put everything. I'll check it out and I'll put everything in the
just
show
look,
notes.
YouTube, Elisha Gabriell, and
Perfect.
you'll see it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see
Awesome.
them. I think I've got 52 videos there.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for that and for the work that you're doing to awaken humanity and to help heal and to, spread the light, so we can awaken and just, become better beings, and be able to express ourselves in such a beautiful way, So I'm grateful for that. And as we wrap up today's episode of the Dear Souls podcast, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to you, Elisha, for sharing your insights and experiences. If you found value in our conversations, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this podcast with your friends. Your support helps us continue bringing inspiring guests to the show, and together we can inspire more souls on their journey to healing and growth. Stay connected with us for more transformative stories, insights. Until next time, keep shining your light.
And you as well.
Thank you.